Hey everybody, Michaela O'Donnell here, Executive Director of the Max Dupree Center for Leadership. In this video, I want to talk a bit about the practice of gratitude, especially as it relates to our own sense of well-being and flourishing. I have been profoundly shaped by the work of my friend, colleague, and former boss, Mark Roberts here. Mark has done just some incredible work on gratitude, both from the scriptures and also in secondary research, particularly of what helps adults in the third to flourish. And gratitude is one of those things. So I'm going to reference some of the work that he's done multiple times. First, let's start just with what flourishing is. Here at the Dupree Center, we talk about flourishing. We think about this biblically. You can think about, Psalm 1:3. They are like trees planted by streams of water, which yield fruit in their season, and their leaves do not wither. In all they do, they prosper. Um, the taking some cues from the folks at the Harvard Center for Human Flourishing, they would say that flourishing is a positive state of well-being that covers aspects of health, of happiness, meaning and purpose, character and virtue, and social relationships. So this picture of fruitfulness and this picture of doing well and being planted in good soil. And there's just a lot of factors outside of our control in terms of the soil that we're planted in. But as Christians, we believe that our practices help shape our attitudes, mindsets, belief, and contribute to the kind of environment that we're in. Practices, there's a long kind of history and tradition and even academic literature on the Christian practices, but think of them as these. Christian practices are concrete. They're things we can actually do, right? Practice, engage in with our words or our bodies. Practices connect us to other people. Christian practices are really never just about us, though they direct us and point us toward God. They also connect us to the people who have practiced the Christian faith for generations before us and will practice it for generations after us. And they also shape who we are. So we think that practices are not just something that we do, but something that does something to us. This is Craig Dykstra. Jamie Smith has You Are What You Love. There's a lot of really interesting reading on this, which is why here at the Dupree Center, we think, okay, if we want to be leaders across industries and seasons of life who are seeking the very best for the people and systems entrusted to their care, who are waking up every day, living and leading in distinctively Christian ways, we think what we do matters and the kind of practices we engage in matter. And one such practice that can contribute to our own sense of flourishing, us feeling like that tree planted by streams of water, and ultimately to the flourishing of the people who are entrusted to our care, is the practice of gratitude. All right. Here are just some. Now, this is a list that Mark, like I said, Mark has done a lot of reading on this and a lot of work on this, particularly as it relates to older adults. But this is something he pulled up in an article from Time Magazine, that gratitude has certain benefits. Here are the 7 benefits. This is from Time Magazine, so popular American culture. Gratitude can make you more patient. It might improve your relationships. It certainly improves your sense of care for self. Gratitude can lead to better sleep. Gratitude may stop you from unhealthy eating habits. Wild, right? Feel grateful for something you're not engaging in. I don't know. You're caring for yourself. Gratitude can help ease depression, which is really interesting. That one makes sense. And gratitude can give a kind of happiness that lasts. That kind of happiness that lasts, that's when I think about the flourishing, right? Things are going well, and you're that tree planted by streams of water, and you produce fruit in the right season, and that our own practice of gratitude is actually part of that. Um, Again, leading on the work of Mark here, we have done some investigation into the work of how gratitude helps combat kind of the deeper stuff into us, right? This is Time Magazine's depression. This is the more lasting happiness, particularly for folks in the third of life, which is one, we at the Dupree Center, we think a lot about the first, second, and third thirds of leadership, life and leadership. And so particularly in that third third, though, I think it tracks. You have to tell me if you think it tracks in the second, third, and the first third as well. That practicing gratitude helps us feel less lonely, less afraid, and less anxious. Practicing gratitude helps us feel less lonely, less afraid, and less anxious. So I just give you all of this to say that the practice of gratitude is not something we do that doesn't have real effects on how we move through the world, right? If we're moving through the world as feeling more connected, feeling more hopeful, feeling less afraid, leaning into love, that the fruit of that could be significant in whatever context we find ourselves in leadership wise and whoever is entrusted to our care. So my one of my own, I'll share very personally, and then I'll share some of the other ones that my colleagues at Dupree Center have collected over time. My practice, my personal practice of gratitude is to thank somebody every single day for their work. This can be someone on my team. This can be somebody who emails me. This can be somebody who is at the checkout stand at Walgreens, or potentially is the wait staff at a restaurant that I visited. Every single day, telling somebody that I'm thankful for their work. What that helps me do, I am prone to moving quickly. I am prone to not slowing down. I am prone to being so far out in the future that sometimes I forget to acknowledge what's happening right in front of me. And in my very worst moments, I forget to acknowledge the work of other people. And so this practice of gratitude has helped me to do something that I say I value. It's helped me to play it out. And I'd like to think that it's also had reciprocal benefits for my flourishing, that it's improved my sense of patience, right? To go to a grateful space, that it's improved my sense of connectedness to other people. I certainly feel less anxious when I'm practicing gratitude. So there's just my personal way. Some additional ways, and my colleague Meryl Herr, she wrote an article for us that we'll link, and it has just some very specific ways that you can practice gratitude. One would be to send a nice note, whether it's handwritten, an email. I mean, handwritten notes, that's something I want to do more of. It's something I'm working on right now. It's a really nice thing to do, to be able to get, and then on the receiving side, to receive a note of gratitude. Pick up the phone, make a phone call. This is something that also I've noticed goes a long way, right? Our team and many people that we serve, we work in technology first, in sometimes even distributed work environments. Picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, like, I really appreciate that thing you did. I thought you did a great job, and here's why I'm grateful." That goes a long way. Um, and the third one that I would add to this is just practicing public gratitude, giving gratitude as leaders. This is a Jim Collins principle, the mirror and the window. You know, when things go, Jim Collins would say, when things go poorly, like, look in the mirror and like take the responsibility for that. But when things are going really well on your team, your organization, and your life, in a true way, not in a false modesty way, but look to share that credit, look to look out the window and give it to others. And when we practice this in a way where we actually say thank you to people for their work in front of others, that is a really beautiful way that helps to not only help people know that we're thankful for them, but to build some community with each other as well. So we're in the season of gratitude here. I'm making this video in November of 2024. And just want to encourage you to think about the ways that you might engage in the Christian practice of gratitude, and how that might not only be a way for us to connect more deeply with God, but also for us to seek the flourishing of those entrusted to our care, and to enable God to help us seek our own flourishing as well.